Okay, here we go. Let's resume. We are waiting on the... Can't continue. We have to do this again, sorry. I'm in a bad area right now. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. But I think what people are really getting at is, how will I feel when I've hit high performance? What does it feel like? So I can reverse engineer that. The question can be answered by the data. And a keyword analyst of public survey data on over 30,000 high-performing respondents, it's pretty clear. When people talk about how they feel in high performance, they report feeling full engagement, joy, and confidence in that order. This means they tend to be fully immersed in what they are doing. They enjoy what they're doing, and they have confidence in their ability to figure things out. Rounding out the top 5 were purposeful and flow, as in I feel like I'm in flow. In the zone was not an option in our surveys because it phrases rather than a word, but it was the most common written in descriptor. Determination, focus, intention, deliberateness, and consciousness rounded out the top concepts people use to describe what being in high performance felt like. Knowing this, you might as well start with the end in mind. Start bringing your full attention to the moment of your life. Starting bringing more joy. Start bringing more confidence. These things will not only make you feel better, they'll also help you perform better. Still, the same caveat applies to states as to strengths. Without effective habits, they're just not enough. The HP6 gave me a proven game plan for succeeding at the projects in life. Now they are standard operating systems for entering any new situation. I've been using them in my professional career, and the results have been astounding and quite public. Beyond myself, the habits and concepts in this book have measurably improved the lives of tens of thousands of our students. These students take the HPI before and after our online programs, live training events, and coaching experience. They love seeing demonstrable data that they are improving their lives. We regularly see our students significantly increase their overall high performance scores and overall life happiness. We've also used the HPI in organizations to help them and pinpoint what their employees and teams should focus their development. Further, we've seen remarkable results throughout client coaching interventions. Over 3,000 hour-long coaching sessions led by independent, certified high-performance coaches reveal that people can dramatically change their behaviors and reach higher performance in many areas of their lives in weeks, not just years. This isn't to say that high-performance habits are a silver bullet for all life's challenges. Over the past decade, as a high-performance coach and researcher, I have sought plenty of disconfirming evidence for the HP6, and I'll happily share that here. In seeking disconfirming evidence, we have looked for people who are not high-performing despite practicing the habits in this book. Are there individuals in the world who actively seek clarity, generate energy, raise necessity, increase productivity, develop influence, and demonstrate courage, who are in fact underperformers or even failures? I have never seen that to the case, but common sense says there is bound to be an exception somewhere. Can someone lack one of the habits and still become successful? For example, can someone be a wild success yet still lack clarity? Absolutely. Can someone lack courage and still be a success? You bet they can. But remember, we aren't talking about initial success here. We're talking about the long term. Odds are, if you lack any of the HP6 for too long, your high performance scores and happiness scores will drop. You simply wouldn't be as effective or as extraordinary as you could be. Some critics say that our descriptions of high performance habits or statements used in the HPR are too vague or open in interpretation. That, of course, is always a risk that describing human behavior. If we say that someone has grit, is creative, is an extrovert, or struggles to maintain focus, one could always argue that such descriptions are vague or generalized. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't attempt to define them, measure them, or educate people about them. Studying human psychology is an imprecision endeavor. but it's worth the work if it helps us learn what makes someone high performing. All we can do is use the validated yet inexact tools available and continue homing in on how to describe and correlate the statements and habits that are true for high performers. And that's what we've been doing. In addition to actively seeking to disconfirm our own assumptions, we have sought to overcome self-reporting biases by checking to see that we people reported in our initial surveys was true in their real lives. We did this by randomly interviewing them, comparing objectives, performing measure, and seeking pure feedback for the most part. We found that people share their honest response in this field because they want to accurately assess where they are and discover where they can improve. We've also included reverse statements and scoring in many of our surveys to see whether response held true. Like any researcher, I'm always open to new evidence and look at findings, including those in this book, as merely another messy step and a long march of understanding humans and how they work. I'll remind you, I am not a psychologist, a psychiatrist, neuroscientist, biologist, or any other title I'm aware of that ends in "ist." I am a professional high-performance coach and trainer who is paid for results, not discussions or theory. And this inevitable biases me towards what I've seen work. And while I feel blessed to have become the world's highest compensated and most followed on this topic, I am without question as fallible as any writer or practitioner trying to take on a topic of such scope and complexity. I have a lot more to learn about high performance. There's plenty that this entire field does not yet know and that needs to be explored. What effects do mental illnesses, childhood experiences, and social, economic, and neurobiological factors have on forming and sustaining these habits? Which of the habits move the needle most in the specific industries, careers, or education levels? Throughout this book, I openly invite you to ask your own questions as well as questions my assertions. In our published articles, I have openly called for further testing of our ideas, and I'd love to hear your feedback too. Every day, my team and I try to learn more and finer distinctions about this subject. I'll be studying it for life. I'd love to hear what works for you and what doesn't, and whether or not you agree with what you'll find in the pages ahead. I merely suggest you keep what works for you and discard the rest. Test it for yourself. Will the HP6 get a dramatic result for you, as we've seen in our research, training, and coaching? I'd love to test them with you. That's why, once again, I've invited you to be the judge of how effective these habits are. In case you haven't yet gotten around to following my advice in the previous chapter, before you read further, take the HPI. It only takes a few minutes, and it's free online at highperformanceindicator.com. I will give you a score on each of the 6 habits, and no, it won't label you. Take the survey, do it now, and be sure to enter your email so I can send another link to take the assessment again in 7 to 10 weeks. Between now and then, read this book and watch the videos you received after you take the assessment so you have the tools needed to improve. You'll know by your own response to the assessment in a few weeks just how much this work can begin to change your life. One thing is abundantly clear from our findings: you should never wait to pursue a dream or add value out of fear that you lack the right stuff. High performance habits because of what you deliberately think and do on a routine basis in order to excel and serve at a higher level. It is this quest to challenge yourself to develop good habits that will make you feel elevated, and lived and help you realize your full potential. In Montana, where I grew up, we had this saying: the time to have the map is before you enter the woods. Someday soon, you'll enter an uncertain situation where your performance really matters. Before that day, read this book and begin the 6 high performance habits. This is your map, and it will lead you through the thicket of life and highest levels of success. In the next chapter, we put an X on the map. We get clarity about who you are and where you want to go at this stage of your life. All right. So the next chapter is section 1, personal habits, high performance habits. Personal, see clarity, generate energy, raise necessity. Social, increase productivity, develop influence, and demonstrate courage. So that's where we're going to leave off right now. Appreciate y'all listening. Sorry that I had a couple. I still have to do work. We are starting on page 53. Make sure you're reading 11 good pages of any given book every single day. Know this, that each and every one of you matters. Okay? Make sure you get the book by Brian Carruthers, Building an Empire. Our book after this one is Claim Your Power. All right? One of the best books you can read is Give Chapters Out of the Bible. And, oh, I did promise everybody, every time I get reading, I will read something from Mr. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I had the wrong book out. I said I would always pull something out of 5 Major Piece of Life by Jim Rohn. So, let's go ahead and turn to one of Jim Rohn's. We're just going to turn in here. Give me a second. Oh, man. Good. Ah, there we go. Nope, that's a change. Hold on. Wrong book. We're still reading that one. Well, I got too many books. Ah, there we go. Is that it? Ah, sorry. That's the book I was looking for. I apologize. All right, goals and goal setting. These are quotes. The major reason for setting a goal is for what it makes of you to accomplish it. What it makes of you will always be the far greater value than what you get. These are by Jim Rohn. The major reason for setting a goal is for what it makes of you to accomplish it. What it makes of you will always be the far greater value than what you get. The ultimate reason for setting goals is to entice you to become the person it takes to achieve them. The ultimate reason for setting goals is to entice you to become the person it takes to achieve them. When Andrew Carnegie died, they discovered a sheet of paper upon which he had written one of the major goals of his life: to spend the first half of his life accumulating money and to spend the last half of his life giving it all away. Some people are disturbed by those tough days because all they have is the days. They haven't the design or described or defined the future. Let me read this one more time. Some people are disturbed by those tough days because all they have is the days. They haven't designed or described or defined the future. All right, one more. We're going to go over. We're going to do a few more by Jim Rohn. I love quotes. Chance, choice, decision. We'll read this and I'll finish up. These are all by Jim Rohn. These are quotes. Okay, it's not the book. That's High Performance we just got done reading. Okay, here we go. Chance, choice, decision. I used to say, I sure hope things will change. Then I learned that the only way things are going to change for me is when I change. Let's do that again. I used to say, I sure hope things will change. Then I learned that the only way things are going to change for me is when I change. Next. Don't say, if I could, I would. Say, if I can, I will. Let's say that again. Don't say, if I could, I would. Say, if I can, I will. Don't say, if I could, I would. Say, if I can, I will. It doesn't matter which side of the fence you get off on sometimes. What matters most is getting off. You cannot make progress without making decisions. Now, this is important. It doesn't matter which side of the fence you get off on sometimes. What matters most is getting off. You cannot make progress without making decisions. I like that one. We generally change ourselves for one of two reasons: inspiration or desperation. I say that again. We generally change ourselves for one of two reasons: inspiration or desperation. If you don't like how things are, change it. You're not a tree. If you don't like how things are, change it. You're not a tree. Quotes by Jim Rohn. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to everybody later. Appreciate each and every one of you. I got to get back to work. God bless. Talk to you soon, everybody.